This is Jonathan over with the screencast 1 for Wynnwood Farm. So this is going to be a walkthrough for WordPress. Um, the typical way that I start is I open up the site in a tab, and then I open up another tab, and I navigate to our domain, so Wynnwood Farms, or wynnwoodfarm.com, and then /wp-admin. That's going to redirect to a login page. And I have the password saved, but you can go ahead and enter your username and password, and that will take us to this dashboard. In this video, I'm going to do a quick overview of the dashboard, and then I'll go into some other sections in other videos for the future. So our dashboard basically is just a welcome screen, and I typically ignore this dashboard area because it doesn't really get me to the edit areas that I need to right away, and plus it includes some advertising for WordPress. Since it is a free platform, they want people to be using plugins, paid plugins, and getting some revenue that way. So our primary areas in our site are actually our pages, our media, and then we do have a form. In the future we could incorporate post like blog or a news feed, but for right now our main area is going to be our pages. If you do incorporate post, you'd have the ability to have comments, and you'd be able to moderate those comments and reply to them. This appearance editor is what I would consider, for the most part, the stay out area. As an administrator, you would have access to all these, but you can also change and manipulate the site in a way that could mess some things up. So I will go over the appearance section in another video just to show you that. Plugins, we're not using a lot of plugins on the site, but plugins are basically third-party tools that add some functionality. For instance, our forms are a plugin called Gravity Forms, but you can add other plugins to enhance your site. Users would simply be the administrators to the site. So this is where I have a username, and then Cindy, you'll have a username in there as well. Some tools are just exporting, importing tools. Visual Composer is a plugin we're using, so here's some settings there. Again, you don't really need to mess with that. And then our settings for our site control how things operate globally for the website. So as far as the dashboard goes, again, you're not really going to do much here. Most of the action is going to be over here, especially in our pages. So since the walkthrough for this is very short and sweet, I'm going to just go right into our next section. We can look at post. Again, we're not using this right now, but if you were writing blog post or a news type feed, again, this might be something in the future that you're going to want to add, but that would be this would be the area where you would see this. I'm actually going to delete this hello world post because that's just a demo post. But if you do want to use blogs or news feeds, you can go ahead and add a new post. You simply put your title of your post and the content here in this section. You have a little editor bar with bold, italic, and some other different settings there. This is your hyperlink. And then you have some control over the styling of the different sections. But there's some tools there for editing. But you can simply publish a post, and again, in the future, if you want a news feed page, that would be something I'd have to set up, but this would be the section where you would do that in post. As you write post, you would get a list here of all of your posts, and you can simply go through and edit them as you need to, or delete old ones if you don't want them on the site anymore. But again, we could talk about that at another time. Skip over to the media library. The media library basically is the place where all of your images are stored and other files. So PDFs would also be stored here. You can upload various document types and reference them, link to them as needed. But again, primarily images are what's here. The form section, this has our request a list sales list form. I want to go into that real quick. And within here we have our fields. for our form. So if I come over here and let's see, our sales list form was under the equine. So if I go to this form here, you see we have all of our fields. So if you ever need to add a field, you can come over here and select either like a standard field, which is just simply your text boxes, or your advanced fields if you need specific information like a phone number or date or anything like that. Those could be there as well. So as far as the form goes, if you do have edits there, just let me know. I can help you with those. I do have the forms going to your email now, so as they come in, you'll see those in your inbox. If you ever have some issues with your email, you can come to the entries area. That will open up this section, and because we only have one form, you don't have to worry about switching to the form, but you can go directly to that form and then all of your entries would show up here. You can click on individual entries and actually get to them and see the responses. Again, that would be if you're not getting the emails for whatever reason, your inbox is not working right. Your forms would show up there. Pages, this is where most of the site content is going to be held. I'm just going to delete this page because we don't need the sample page. But our home page right here is where all of our content on the home page is stored. And I'm not going to go into editing this content right now in this video. I'll do that in another video. But when you come to the home page, you'll see these little grids and here's some columns. The content's all laid out using a drag and drop tool called Visual Composer. And so what that allows you to do is you can drag and drop the layout and make some changes there. I would recommend, just depending on your familiarity with design, to really leave the layouts there as far as, don't drag them around and change the layout, but you can edit the content by clicking the pencil on the different elements. But again, I'll go into that in another video. But back to our pages, we do have a couple other pages set up. This is a draft page, which we don't need. But I have this contact page, and I started putting together the media page. That's where, if you're up here, right now there's one video. We can talk a little bit more about how you want to do that page, because I think you were talking about maybe like a featured type, a featured horse or a featured, part of the site. So maybe that name media changes, but we can talk about that later. Again, if you're using posts and you have comments turned on, those comments would show up here. You can approve them or disapprove and then delete them. So I'm not going to worry about too much of that because right now we're not doing post. But if you do, do the news feed or the blog, I can talk to you about that as far as how that would work. Again, the appearance editor, you're not really going to do much here. Everything's pretty much set up for you. We're not really doing anything with themes. I have a theme designed for you, so we don't need to do that, or the customization. We're not using any widgets right now, but we can. Those would be third-party functionality that can be added to the site later. The menu, we are using the menu. Right now we just have one menu, so here we just have the one menu, and then we have a social media menu. But I have those linked here, which references this up here. We don't really have a lot of room for more options without kicking down to a second line, so I really would recommend not adding any more to the main navigation, but if we would need to maybe change up how the navigation works as the site grows, maybe we add more pages later, and instead of having the quick jumps, all of these basically just jump to a section on the home page. We might not need all of these here, and we can split those up into individual pages down the road. But again, I can talk to you about that later. So the media, or the menu is there. The social media right now, this is just this YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, which are these navigation items. If you want to add any more to those, the basic way to do that is just to add a custom link, which is going to come over here. So let's look at the YouTube. So I've put in that custom link. I've changed the navigation label to YouTube, and then I'm doing this thing with this class here, which is this font awesome icon for YouTube. So that's how we get these icons instead of the word YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram typed out. So that's there. So you don't really need to worry about that. If you're adding another social media outlet, just let me know. Maybe I can help you with that as far as that goes. We're not worried about the background. Shift Nav is a mobile navigation that I have set up for you, and the editor. This is highly stay out area. This is actually the code for the site, so this is the styling that powers the look and the feel of the site. Some of the work that I've done, or most of the work that I've done, is all in these files as well as these files over here. So I would highly recommend staying out of the editor unless you are familiar with CSS and HTML and PHP. Which, if you are, then you didn't really need me. But this is the stuff that I've set up for you, so I would recommend just not going in there. Plugins, like I said, we're not really running many plugins on the site. Font Awesome gives us the icons, Gravity Forms for our forms, Shift Nav for the mobile navigation, the Visual Composer plugins here. That all helps in designing the pages. So you don't really need to worry about that either. The users, I will set you up with a user, that way you can come in here. Right now it's just me, but I'll set you up with a user so you can edit the site. Again, we don't need to worry about the tools, the Visual Composer, and I've already worked on the settings here, setting up the site, so we don't need to worry about those or any of these options here. So this was just kind of the general walkthrough for the dashboard for WordPress and the different sections. I'm going to go into more depth with the pages and actually editing the content on the home page in the next video. I will talk to you soon. Thanks.